Welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook and you want to like the page, that would be awesome. And if you're listening on a platform like iTunes and you want to give us a 5-star review because you think we deserve it, that would be incredible. We've been putting out content now for over 4 years, and we couldn't be doing what we love without all of your support. So thank you for tuning in each and every week and hearing us chit-chat about a variety of things, which we have a variety of things today as well. But first, I want to kick it off with our sponsor, First Leaf. I just talked to my mom yesterday, got her some wine. She's not a big wine drinker. She probably drinks maybe 2 bottles a month. But when I was telling her about the deal and I said, you know, you should buy some of these because it's a sponsor of the podcast and it's $29.95 and you get for 6 bottles. And after I went through the little quiz and I asked her all these questions, like, what do you like? And what do you think about these flavors? And going through the whole thing, they curated 6 bottles for her. And then they show you what they retail at. And these bottles that she got were like $20, $25. So in retail, it would have been like $140
in total.
In total. But she got all 6 and free shipping for $29.95.
Wow.
So anybody who's a wine drinker or even a kind of wine drinker like my mom, take advantage of this deal. You get 6 bottles for $29.95. It's like $31 with tax. And they bring you through this quiz. So it'll say, like, do you like it sweet, little sweet, bitter? Do you like these kind of wines? Then they go through like a palate testing where they're like, do you like the taste of almonds? Do you like citrusy things? And they ask you all these questions. So I'm on the phone with my mom, like plugging all this in. And they curated 6 bottles for her that she'll be getting, I think, tomorrow. So it's fast shipping right to your door. And, you know, I'm still holding out, so I haven't been able to taste it. But I know you love it.
I will handle it from
here.
And
so you can all have a glass on my behalf until I jump back on and start having some cheat meals, including alcohol. But, yeah, go to tryfirstleaf.com/FreddieAlyssa, and that's how you can get that big discount. So I want to thank First Leaf because that's really cool because you're getting some really nice bottles of wine for super cheap. Out of curiosity,
I know she likes the pink wines. Was it mostly that when she took the test, or they send a variety?
It's stuff I've never heard of.
Okay.
Because I think they have like 15,000 different wines. I could be making that up, but it's like a ton of wines. But because when you do all the questionnaires, but she likes the sweet stuff.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like Riesling. I think that's her kind of thing, which is the complete opposite of any kind of alcohol I like.
Moscato, maybe? Is that
I think so.
Okay. Well, we'll see what she thinks of her choices, because I know I loved mine. They were so on point.
You've been actually liking wine more lately.
I really have.
Isn't it funny when people get older, you always hear in 30s, 40s, 50s, there's like, oh, my wine. But when you're in your 20s, you're like, wine? Wine?
You know why? Because wine really allows you to relax. It just kind of like... Okay, first and foremost, it's really good when you have certain meals for dinner. You go, ooh, you know, I would love a nice red glass with my steak or whatever it might be, or fish. You want like a nice like white wine. And it just kind of really pairs it. And then other times you're like, wow, I just really want to unwind. I'd love a glass of wine in my bath. I like to read and watch my show with a glass of wine. I love to live life with a glass of wine.
I feel like real connoisseurs, though, are being honest. I think a lot of people go, when I have that glass of wine with fish, it makes the flavor so much better. I don't think you're there yet.
Oh, I 100% am there. And you know what's funny?
It really makes the food taste better?
It's so much better. And last night, I went to my parents for dinner, and we picked up hibachi. And my mom was all excited, getting ready to have her steak. And she goes... Ooh, she goes, I hope I have a bottle of red. And she went over there and she looked and she was like, dang it, your sister drank it all.
Oh, when she was in town?
So she didn't get any wine with her steak.
Even when we used to visit them in Jersey, they would have like alcohol and we would clean that out over a week.
Always.
They would have like 2 bottles of vodka and like all this stuff. And we're like, you had this last Christmas. But so they don't really drink that much. Your dad drinks beer.
He loves
Your mom
beer.
Doesn't really drink that much. And then my parents never have alcohol at the house. Like they're not drinkers at all.
Yeah.
Like my dad will have a beer every now and then. My mom a glass of wine, but they're
just
not really
more social.
Yeah.
Type of
but yeah, the wine thing I still like. I get it, but like an ice cold beer makes sense to me.
Right.
Or taking shots with your friends.
Well, that's fun too. I just feel that when because I used to drink beer a lot with you. And it just, I mean, it's so delicious, don't get me wrong. The first thing, like after a long day, like imagine it's a weekend, it's 5 p.m., the sun's out, and you go have a nice ice cold beer. Like I used to love doing that. And then once you started your diet, I obviously stopped doing that, and wine kind of became my thing because it's just like easier to just unwind with wine.
And you almost can't overdo it.
No.
There's even some weddings that will do just wine and beer because they know it won't get out of control. Because you have to, it's really hard to pound wine.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You know, but with a shot, you're like, oh, let's do a shot, let's do a shot, let's do a shot. You don't feel it. But then all three kick in.
You know what's fun is Patron and Corona. Like if it's, imagine like a nice afternoon pool party with your friends and everyone's like, yeah, let's take a nice chilled shot of Patron, and then you have a Corona after.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
I haven't had that in so long.
Well, the age thing makes a huge difference with drinking.
Yeah.
You know, we definitely noticed the difference. I noticed the difference, you know, when you're experimenting when you're young, or especially when you're in your early 20s, I mean, you can get away with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have work at 6 a.m. and you can be out drinking with your friends till 2 in the morning, get home at 3 o'clock and be fine.
Oh, and you and I have done that in our early 20s. And I mean, you feel sick, but you're in your early 20s sick, so it doesn't really count.
You're not sick. You're just exhausted. But you don't have the sweats. You don't have anxiety. You don't have nausea. You don't have dizziness. You don't have any of that when you're in your 20s.
You know the main difference when you're in your 20s? If you wake up in your 20s with a hangover, you can go for coffee right away. When you hit your 30s, you are hydrating all day. The last thing I would want is a cup of coffee. I used to get so upset in movies when there was like a long night of partying and then the friends come over the next day and they're like, here's your coffee, here's your coffee. I'm like, y'all know.
You're in your 40s. There's no way you're having coffee when you're that slammed.
No, you
the next
need
morning.
Water. You need hydration.
Unless you're Hank Moody.
Because you're Hank Moody. But even then, I just know for me when I drink, the last thing I want when I wake up in the morning is the first thing is coffee. I need water, I need Gatorade, I need electrolytes, I need my club soda, all of that before dry coffee that's going to dehydrate me.
That was I think this is terrible, but alcohol, the change of my experience with it over the course of my 20s was pretty much one of the indicators where I understood that my youth was going away. I've talked about this before, where I understand I'm still young,
right?
But youth is when you watch the kids without stretching go to a full sprint. That's something only the youth can do.
Right.
As an adult, even if you're in the best shape of your life, you'll pull something if you jump around. Or if you're drinking, you notice that the hangovers are worse as you get older. And it's just not worth it.
Yeah.
So that's how I started to realize. I was like, oh, wow. But I think that's why kids do it. Like, and then you go to college and you do all that stuff. You're just experimenting and you're like, oh, this is fun. And but then as you get older, you just want like a nice. You don't want to get like drunk.
No, because you know
you just want to take off the edge. And that's the thing that I miss for myself, is that I feel like I'm so heady about everything. But when I can have a few drinks, it kind of allows me to just sit into the present.
Be in the moment.
And be in the moment. And I kind of live more in the moment rather than like sitting at a concert. So, you know, if I'm a little drunk or I'm like, oh, this is like a lot of fun, I'm getting into it. If I'm sober, I'll end up going, okay, there's about 1,500 people here. I wonder how much the front seats cost. And then there's all these people working. How many people in the parking lot? They charge $25. So if you multiply that, so the person who owns this venue is getting a huge cut. And like, I just am always thinking of like, well, they're selling merch. So I wonder if they sell that online or it's just a special event. Like, no matter what's going on, I'm always thinking.
Yeah.
But if I'm a little buzzed, then I just enjoy.
Away.
And that's not healthy.
That's not healthy at all.
But now that I've been, you know, without a cheat meal and without any alcohol for, I don't even know what day I'm on anymore, like 168 maybe.
My gosh.
You just think differently.
Yeah.
Like now the thing that makes me unwind is my frozen blueberries and pistachios.
There you go.
But yeah, I don't know, because I initially with my diet was like, I'm going to do it till Christmas.
Yeah.
But then now I'm just kind of like, I don't want to just break it and have a bacon burger and a beer for no reason. So I'm just going to keep it going. And I just kind of like it. I've never done that in my life before. I've never, ever given up all instant gratification food and alcohol for a long period of time. Ever. Yeah. So I'm like, oh, I like how this feels. I'm sleeping great. And then I went and got myself some new shirts, hence the one I'm wearing right now for those who are watching. It's like I don't know what color this is, but it's like a striped shirt. Alyssa helped me pick them out because she said she knows fashion, obviously. I got lazy with my fashion as I got older. I used to be real fashionable when I was in my early 20s.
Yeah, you were. But I just feel like as you got older, you preferred more comfort, and now we're kind of going back to just working on some fashion and choosing some stuff.
Yeah, well, I do feel when you wear a nice shirt and you have a nice haircut, it does boost your confidence.
Of course.
Because you're like, oh, I'm in like a nice thing. But in my early 20s, dressing in diesel jeans and a nice shirt and having everything right was like all I was bringing to the table. I didn't have much going on.
Right.
You know, like I was a server, inspiring to be an actor, and knew nothing about the world. So like, what did I have to offer other than like charming with nice clothes?
Sure.
Kind of funny. I didn't even, hone my comedy. I actually kind of did. I just didn't do it in public as much, I feel. But now when I get older, I'm like, it's just a bonus. Like now I feel like I can have a good conversation or be attractive to someone based on how I treat them, based on the knowledge or the interesting conversation you can have.
Yeah.
And so that's why certain times I don't even want something too flashy where it's drawing people to me because of how I've made myself look on the outside. I kind of like dumbing it down in a weird way.
Well, it's almost the Adam Sandler effect. You know how he's on one extreme.
He's at the, I don't want to be that.
But he does not care. He wears the basketball shorts, mismatched tops. He does not care because he is just crushing life, very successful, very wealthy, and he doesn't care. He just wants to be comfortable. And hey, kudos to him. But I do think there's a fine line, especially with everything we do for work too. Sometimes presentation is important.
Yeah.
Right? Especially when you're building a brand. And like you said, it makes you feel good.
Yeah. It almost feels like, I think that's where the fake it till you make it saying came from. Mm-hmm. Is that you're not faking who you are, but you're over presenting to almost share with the future and the affirmation of like, this is going to be my norm. Yeah. Wearing Gucci or wearing expensive things means that you're selling expensive luxury real estate or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But once you build such a brand for yourself where people know you, like Adam Sandler, he can walk into a business meeting and he doesn't have to wear the nice clothes or pull up in the nice car. He just has to be pleasant so people want to work with him. But it doesn't matter what he's wearing because everyone knows him.
Right.
Like if someone knew us and we wore just like workout clothes to a business meeting and they knew us, it wouldn't matter.
No, and it never
You almost
matters.
have to present yourself, though, to strangers because that's just how humans are. You're going to judge someone. If you're wearing a T-shirt and jeans and you're on stage speaking to 50,000 people, you're either, like, you're probably rich.
Well, yeah.
Because if you were a newbie, people are like, you got to get your act together, man. Like, you don't even look sharp.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is that way, but...
I just think it differs per person because I was even talking to my 91-year-old grandma the other day. And she was going down for dinner with a couple of her friends, and she was telling me what she was wearing. And she, my grandma is a little fashionista. She always has been her whole life. I feel like maybe that's where I got some of that, Yeah. And she just still is rocking it and still loves to put herself together in hair and makeup. And so I just think it differs with every person, what you want to do. Then you got someone like a Steve Jobs or Zucks, I think it was, and they wear the same thing every single day because they don't want to wake up in the morning and waste any time on what are they wearing because they're so focused. So, it differs per person.
It's wasting a decision.
Wasting a decision.
You can only make so many decisions in a day. Like there's science behind that.
Yeah.
And if they have to think about which shirt to wear, they waste a decision and their jobs were so high demand
Right.
that they need every decision that they get allotted per day to go towards the business. Nothing like picking what to eat, picking what to wear. Those decisions have to be off the table so that
Totally
the
get
only
that.
decisions they're making is, are they going to tweak their 2 billion user app or not?
But I feel like for me, I could not wear the same thing every day, no matter what I'm doing. And hey, maybe that would change, but I just feel like it's such a part of my personality. It's such a part of my mood for that day, how I'm feeling in the morning. And I've
Yeah.
always been that way, even in high school. Because I used to dress up and wear so many crazy outfits in high school. Like,
Yeah.
I always was doing it. But then some days, you know, you're a little more laid back and you want to be more comfortable or like tomboyish, or the next day you're feeling like in a great mood and you're like, I'm going to be a little more flashy.
Yeah, I think the moral of it all is just be you.
Yeah.
You know, don't try to over flex or overproduce anything. Just kind of just be you. But I think this all pertains to like job interviews, auditions, business meetings.
Sure.
In real life, I don't care.
Right.
But even when we're thinking about even different kind of advertisements for our real estate, it's like I'm going back and forth with, there's already a million collared shirt, hair done, arms crossed, smiling guy. You're just going to be overlooked. And it's like the thing that I can do differently is just be myself.
Yeah.
And yeah, some people are going to be like, I would never list my house with someone who can't even wear a suit and tie when they come and sit down with me. Then that's not my person. It's like what Gary Vee says. People are like, why do you curse? He goes, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
There's going to be 10 million people that will never listen to him because he curses, but then there's 30 million more that will because he does, because
Yeah.
it's authentic.
Yeah.
So I think the moral of the story is just be authentic.
Just be you. Everyone's different. That's what makes the world go round.
Yeah, we have to. And we're going to be authentic as long as we can, because before you know it, we're going to be cartoon characters in a world far, far away where we can be whatever we want to be.
Is that so?
Which is what we do now.
It is what
That's
we
why people
do
cut
now.
their hair a certain way, wear certain colors. We're an expressive species.
A very, very expressive species. And it's crazy because the head of Instagram, he's Adam Mosseri, is how you pronounce it. And he did a video today about this new feature called avatars. So very reminiscent of, remember Bitmoji?
Yeah.
Where we used to have literally an avatar of who you are and you could sit and you could make it. Well, they're introducing that now to Instagram. So there's a clip. I want to show it to you and I want to get your opinion because I started making mine and it just kind of blew in my mind, this whole thing.
This week, I want to talk about avatars. We announced new avatars on Instagram that are three-dimensional and that you can sync across both Instagram and Facebook and Messenger. Now, why do avatars matter? Well, in the past, the way you showed up online, the way your identity manifested itself was primarily a profile. You have a profile on LinkedIn, a profile on Twitter, a profile on Instagram. And a profile was a page with a profile picture, your name, and some information, maybe whatever you shared on that site. In the future, we think that the internet is going to evolve into a more immersive experience, something that we like to call the metaverse. And if you're going to be in these virtual worlds, your identity is going to need to show up somehow. And that's where your avatar comes in. It's a visual representation of who you are. And it's going to be more dynamic than a profile ever was. You'll have clothes that you can wear. You can change your clothes. You'll have a backpack with sort of Harry Potter style, infinite things in it. Not only other clothes, but your money, maybe your collectibles or NFTs, any digital goods that you own. And you should be able to bring that identity and those digital goods with you to wherever you go in the metaverse, whether it's an app that we build here at Meta or that any other company builds across the world. And so the avatar is a key building block towards that future, towards that vision that we're so excited about here at this company. So check it out. You can use your avatar now in DMs and stories, but we're going to look for more ways to integrate it throughout the Instagram experience. You can go to your profile, the menu, settings, account, and create your own avatar. A lot more work to do, but we're really excited about it. See you next week. Peace.
So the first steps into building an
Yeah.
avatar and online presence in the metaverse. we'll get there. Obviously, this is just for Instagram, Facebook. They want you to get used to being this avatar.
Yeah.
As a representation of you. And so I started making it because basically if you pull up your stories and you click on the menu, it will say avatar. And so you click on it and it starts just completely blank canvas. You have to pick your face shape, your lips, your eyes, eye color, eyebrow, like every little thing. It took me a while because I was like, how do I want my hair to be in this?
Yeah.
You know, like what do I wear all the time? What do I look like? And it's just really interesting that they are now introducing this as the very first step. But what I found so interesting about that clip is he goes, eventually in the metaverse, you're going to be carrying a backpack around and it's going to have all of your monetary goods in it. So your NFTs, anything you own digitally, your money. So that is going to eventually, I feel like, be maybe a status thing where you can be in the metaverse and everyone knows, oh, that's the guy who has the most famous NFT in all of the metaverse or whatever it could be. But they're just basically creating a whole new world.
Hey y'all, welcome to the Daigle Bites podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Daigle. I'm a singer that hails from the deep swamps of Louisiana. I ventured my way up to Nashville to take the risk of jumping in on the pipe dream of singing on stages other than the ones I grew up seeing. Along this journey, I wrote a song called You Say, and what came next absolutely changed my life. I found myself in tour buses, singing on stages all over the world. And every single night I would get asked the question, what would Lauren Daigle be doing if she hadn't pursued music? Well, this season of Daigle Bites is answering just that, and I'm bringing you along with me on this adventure. Every week, I chat with some of my heroes outside of the music world, ranging from astronauts to florists to authors, to learn what drives their creativity, passion, and purpose. You can hear new episodes each week only on Amazon Music.
Yeah, it's what is it being used for today? Like, what do you do with your avatar?
So you can put it in your stories. You can send it through.
Does it move?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Let me show you the one. The one I made. Please forgive me. I was doing it quickly. But so if...
Well, and are you going to be able to talk soon through it? Obviously, right?
Of course.
Because don't they have that on the iPhone where you can be like a unicorn or a dog or something?
Yes.
And it moves with your face?
Yep. And I've never fully used that, but I know exactly.
So we're just all going to be just cartoon characters?
Well, because
online.
Think about it. If you're an avatar in this metaverse, you need something to represent you because you're not going to physically be there. It's going to be the fake Freddie avatar. So I think they're trying to get us used to a new way of accepting that, oh, this is the avatar. I've seen that all over Instagram. When I hop onto metaverse, oh, I've seen him on Instagram. That's what his avatar looks like.
But I kind of think it would be more fun if you could create characters.
Well, you can make your avatar whatever you want. But isn't that crazy? I mean, it kind of looks like me. Not really. I know. I'm working on it. I was under a time crunch.
Who do you look like?
Who is that?
Not you. What's Benji scratching?
Benjamin?
Yeah, it'll get there.
And I can go in and edit it, but I just was going so quickly. And it's really personal decisions when you're going through. You're like, how do I want my eyeliner?
That's crazy.
What do you think? What are your thoughts?
I think it'd be cool, but I almost want like I was thinking of the avatar though. For me, like I understand having it look like you, but if you have the freedom to make whatever, why couldn't I be a dinosaur in the metaverse?
You could, but right now I think it's solely people.
And then maybe too, though, it's kind of like those Zoom filters. If you're going to be yet again in a business meeting and you look like a chipmunk, it's harder to take someone serious. But if they were like their cartoon expressive face, maybe we'll be able to relate a little bit more. But then there'll probably be places where you can be your cartoon self for important things. But then if you're hanging out with your friends or you're going to do whatever, that you're able to be like a bear or create your own kind of character, I think would be a lot of fun.
But what's crazy is right now with that avatar, I could choose anything. I could pick something a different sex, different hair color, everything that isn't me, and I could pick that. So what's that going to be like of people? Like there was a Black Mirror episode a long time ago, and it was kind of reminiscent of that idea.
Yeah.
That they went into this digital world and, you know, they ended up falling in love with someone. It was this whole thing, but they were very different in real life. So is this going to be an escape for people to be able to go be someone else? Like, I don't know. It's just crazy when you look at all that, what it's really going to end up being.
It seems, too, it's going to be a lot more of things to do. Because if you think about this as a video game, if I could connect with my friends who live in all different states and we meet in the metaverse, but we can go do something together. Like if you're going to go and play capture the flag, or you're going to go and, you know, do a mission.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you're being the people with your friends.
Huh.
Because that's the hardest thing now is, especially as you get older, you know, like all of our friends live everywhere.
Yeah.
And even people who live down the street, you're just like, everyone's busy. But especially your friends from out of town, it'd be really cool to be able to spend more time together.
Or imagine going to like a cocktail hour with your friends, you
Yeah.
know? And everyone comes from all around. That's what's going to be interesting too, is what if I want to do a biking class with the top instructor in Australia,
Yeah.
and they have a class and you can hop in there and I can make friends from all around the world
Well,
by going to that class.
it seems like that's just what's going to be a little more immersive. Like right now, you could do a Peloton and you could have a live instructor,
Right.
and everyone's doing it. But if you turn to your right, you're in your house. Once you put your goggles on and the metaverse gets to that level, you'll be with your friend. You'll see your sister next to you on the bike
Right.
in the room.
Right.
So you're going to be in a cartoon world, actually riding your bike at home, but you're more immersed.
So weird. I
So-
guarantee you one day they're going to make these avatars. They're going to be able to do like a face scan,
Oh, yeah.
and it's going to be very realistic of who you are. But
I mean, people are already doing that with deep fakes,
yeah.
where they're doing that, where they're taking your face and they're making it look like it's you. That guy does it with Tom Cruise very well. He looks close enough to Tom Cruise, but with the deep fake or the technology,
Yep.
he looks like Tom Cruise. You can make it sound like it. And even video games. It's hilarious to think of the graphics when we were kids compared to now.
Oh my god.
Even the way they move.
Well, even if you think about Super Mario
yeah.
Brothers, like I was obsessed with that game, and it was just like this little character that just could barely move his arms, and he would just do that to hit the.
And it was all like one dimensional.
Yeah.
You couldn't see depth. There was no going anywhere. It was just.
Hit those question mark
Yeah.
boxes. He just would pound it. But it's really come a long way. And now you think of all those games. I mean, Grand Theft Auto. Like, remember you used to play that? That was I'm sure it's a different.
I'm sad I gave that up.
You love that.
It was a phase, but it was so fun because it was the first time. This was like 10 years ago or
Almost 10.
2013 maybe, almost 10 years ago.
Wow.
But it was the first time I was like, oh my God, we're playing with other people on the internet. It wasn't like the game's characters. Me and Nate would sit and take turns, and there's other people on the internet playing in the game, and you're shooting each other. And we used to have so much fun doing that, and that was cool. So that's what I'm saying. If we can do that in the metaverse.
You could have been a Twitcher.
I mean, I don't even want to think about it. But yeah, the whole video game space I never really got into the past 10 years.
No,
But
you kind of gave that up. Which
it's still really fun. It's just time consuming, but it's almost more fun than like watching TV these days. If I'm going to blow 3 hours on a movie or.
But now think about it. When the metaverse comes and you've got, time to kill at night, you might go, oh, let me just pop in there and see what's going on. And then you might spend hours on end and become addicted to that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be interesting.
I just want to see the identity, how they're going to handle that, because even now with Instagram, it's crazy to me. This is a good idea for Instagram. They have the blue check marks for people in the media or celebrities or whatever.
Yeah.
The blue check mark is there to protect identities so that if someone makes a fake account, people know, oh, this is the blue check mark Freddie.
Right.
This is really him. I wish they would do a green check mark for people who choose to upload their ID and verify that they're really
That
Bob
person.
Smith. And if you see a green check mark, you're like, wow, they went through the verification. It says Bob Smith. This is Bob Smith.
Right.
And then if you're young or you don't want to verify, then there's no check mark. But at least when people are giving opinions, it's like, it's crazy to me to think that there's somebody who has no profile picture and a fake name that's
Right.
on the internet
Right.
being able to say things with no consequence. In real life, this is what's bizarre. It is way more toxic online than in real life.
Right.
Like, I don't walk to the grocery store and someone comes up to me and goes, hey, what a stupid haircut. Because there's possible consequences that you're going to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
But if you have no profile picture and you want to sit there and say that, there's no consequence for you doing that of being an a-hole.
Right.
I don't like that.
Nah.
You should, if you're going to, especially someone like myself, my pictures and videos are out there. I have the you-know-what to put the camera on me, to put my face and my ideas on the internet to be criticized.
Mm-hmm.
But you're hiding behind no profile picture and a fake name. Like, if you have something to say, make a video, put your face on it,
Yep.
and say something.
Yep.
And it's crazy. So it's like when you go in the metaverse, I just wish there was some sort of checks and balances where you could at least have some sort of security that it's, because if somebody is, if someone's got like picture of them and their name is like whatever, and it's a real name and a real person, and they have something to say, it's kind of like, I respect that because you have your real name and picture up there behind those words and you're not hiding. So I'm like, respect. When you have a picture of like a cartoon horse and your name is like made up,
It's hard.
that's
to take the
bizarre. And it's
respect.
weird that they allow that. Like, and that's why you can't force everyone to show their ID. But I wish they would add a green check mark to people who choose to upload an ID to verify their identity. And that would be awesome.
Well, that kind of brings the question, though, too. I guarantee you in the metaverse, they're going to have to do something like that because eventually there will be dating in the metaverse. They're going to say, oh, how'd you meet your significant other? Oh, through the metaverse. It's just what it's going to be. That's how online dating was, the apps, all of that. Imagine you can go to mixers in the metaverse, but you want to make sure that this person you're talking to has a green check mark and you know that they're a verified real person who is similar to their avatar, right?
Yeah.
You want to make sure, oh, you said you're this age. Your avatar's making you look like you're 21, but really maybe they're 60. Like, that's not going to fly.
But I think that's going to be what's built in the metaverse. I think someone will build a mixer building where maybe they, as the company, can control that. Because even if you think about the internet, Airbnb was built on the internet. And Airbnb chooses to have you upload an ID and verify yourself so that they have protection. The internet's not doing it. The company is. So maybe a dating site, however that will look in the metaverse, will require verification so that their customers in the metaverse are safe
Yeah.
and it's real. But even on things like Tinder, aren't people lying on Tinder too? Aren't there massive catfishings going on?
There's a new show that just came out. I'm actually very curious to watch. I think it's on Netflix, but there was this guy who catfished so many women but swindled millions of dollars from all these different women, and it's a really big ordeal. I don't know too much about it yet, but we've never used Tinder. That was after our time because we got together before it, so I don't know. Do you put your ID up?
I don't think you put your ID up, but what would stop me from saying I'm 25 and 6'8"?
But then you're probably going to meet this person, right? So
Well, I mean, it happens all the time.
I know.
A lot of people are doing it just to communicate and chat.
I don't have enough data on that to know.
Most people are upfront and honest, and most people are great, and most people, because we have a really good look at it.
Yeah.
We've been in the what do you call it? Not the limelight, but we've had attention on us
Sure.
for over a decade. And we've probably interacted with 100,000 people.
Right.
And I would say only 100 have been weird
Yeah.
interactions.
Yeah.
So that's really good odds. Most, almost all people are great.
Yeah.
It's not like it's 50-50.
But then what's really interesting too, so there are these two main areas right now in the metaverse. Like, I think they're two cities. One might be Decentraland. Yeah, Decentraland. There's another one. And there was a wedding in one of these lands or one of these cities. And this couple was getting married, and then these crashers came to the wedding, and they were like beating up the bride and the groom and like throwing the bride all, like, it was insane. And I go, A, who would do that? You know, B, what are the repercussions going to be for things like that? How are they going to make it so it's not just some wild west, if you will, in the metaverse?
Well, I just keep always thinking back to what we have now. You and I, when we did a Zoom for our wedding, people had a password.
Right.
So someone could have crashed it if they hacked it and got the password, or someone gave the password online. Then people could have got into the Zoom and took it off mute and disrupted it.
Okay.
But even that, to be honest with you, there is no, if that would have really happened at our wedding, even with all the money we spent, and someone would have AKA ruined it, there's no law. I mean, what would you sue those people for? Damages?
I guess what you're trying to figure out is that, like, think about if in real life someone came to your wedding, crashed it, and they were beating up the guests and ruining everything.
Well, beating up the guest that's simple.
That's what they were doing in this.
Well, that's because it's virtual. But if you went into a wedding and you kicked over the cake and you ruined the flowers,
you'd get arrested.
It would be like destruction of property,
Sure.
Trespassing, endanger. Like, there's probably a bunch of things you could hit them with.
Of course.
But yeah, I don't know if someone crashed your Zoom and ruined an event, if that would be.
Well, because they're going to be new laws. That's going to be a new thing. How are they going to handle that?
Well, I don't know how people get into the wedding. That's what I'm confused about. Is the metaverse going to be just as open as real life, where you're having a wedding at a park and any person can walk in and ruin the wedding, even though 99.999 will never, because they're good people? But then again, that's why you have security.
Well,
if someone's being rowdy, security, get them out of here. So, or is it going to be like a password protected thing where even though it's the metaverse,
to get to a certain area, you have to have the password
to get in?
And it might turn into that. I think it's just so new that if you were to put on the goggles, you can just like go walk around right now. I think it's just that brand new. I mean, we don't even have the technology. I wonder how much that is.
What?
To get the goggles?
Well, the Oculus, I think, is $500.
Oculus, that's what it's called.
It's really, I mean, I'm sure it's cool. And it's like, that's why we keep on like sharing it with you as we're hearing announcements, but we haven't dove into it big time yet.
No.
It's really early.
Yeah.
But it's just fun to just fantasize about.
Yeah.
Because I want to just see what it's like. But that's what helps me understand it, is I look at what we have now. And when I think about Grand Theft Auto, like, I can run up to somebody with my weapon and I see that they're another player and they have their name.
Right.
And we can like not shoot each other and work together, or you can.
Yeah.
And so but yet we're all in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can't leave the Grand Theft Auto built world and go to some wedding.
Right.
So I think that's the disconnect that I haven't figured out yet, is that it's going to be like probably apps. Like, you can't crash someone's Instagram from YouTube.
Okay.
Like, you have to be in whatever's going to be built.
Right.
So I think someone will build an app, whatever that will be, and then you'll have to have access to get into that. Because the same thing with all the NFTs, where people are buying, like virtual tickets to go to like virtual restaurants. You have to show and prove that you've paid to get into the space to then correspond with all these other people who paid to talk.
Right.
If we could go to a restaurant and pay $10,000 and get to talk to Mark Cuban and Gary Vee and like all these people in this space. There's 100 of us, and we're like, hey, Mark, sorry to bother. So hi, I'm Freddie. Nice to meet you. But you can't get in if you don't pay.
Huh.
So I think people are going to start building areas which will be apps, and then there's going to be some sort of security.
I wonder if they'll have technology one day that is going to allow you to be able to taste the fake food that you're buying. Because imagine if you're going out and we're like, oh, let's go do date night in the metaverse. And there's some big hot new restaurant and you go and you order the best food. Do you think they're going to have technology where you can taste it?
I don't know.
I mean, I'm
I
talking
think it'll
way down the line.
I think it'll be delivered. I think that we'll go to a restaurant called Annie's, and we'll have 10 friends for a birthday. We'll all go in the metaverse. We're going to sit down and be like, oh my God, nice shirt. I love what you did with your avatar hair, like all this kind of stuff. And we're all going to be sitting there. Everyone's going to be talking. And then we're going to order. And the app Annie's will probably have cloud kitchens all around the United States, like a Domino's. And Domino's could guarantee deliver within 30 minutes to all 10 of us. So we'll get a knock at the door. We'll get our food. We'll sit down, and then we'll all be eating Domino's, but at Annie's or whatever Annie's is. So it'll be like that in the real world. For anybody who wants to get like a crazy look at it, watch the movie Ready Player One, because that's kind of where it's going.
Uh-oh.
Where you can win things in the metaverse that ship to you in real life.
Oh, is that how the movie...
So like if there was like a thing in the metaverse where they're like, attention everyone, it's me, Mark Zuckerberg, and to launch the metaverse, we have hidden a token. And the first person to find this token wins $100,000. So then everyone's in the metaverse and we're running around looking for these tokens. And then if you get it, then you'll have like someone shows up at your door with $100,000 cash.
What?
They can do things. That's what Ready Player One was, kind of. Not that simple.
But wasn't the real world just really like almost near apocalyptic, if you will?
Yes.
Kind of,
And
sort of.
sadly, that kind of seems like where this could potentially go. Because it's just things are getting so expensive that people are just going to start going, look, because we even say that now. Like 10 years ago, it was awesome if you wanted like a really big house and you wanted to like, but now if you could just have a really nice like 3-4 bedroom house, have one room as your metaverse room where you have all your equipment to go in there, and you're going to spend more money in the metaverse than you will in real life, because that's where people are going to meet.
Ask with that movie, I remember seeing a little bit of it a long time ago. Isn't it basically where people's real life, I mean, they would much rather be in the metaverse or the fake world, so they would spend more of their time in that world, but they're just sitting at home with the goggles on in real life.
Yep.
Wow.
And they're hooked up to kind of like this treadmill thing that keeps you balanced. So as you're running and moving, you won't fall over or hurt yourself, because all the videos you see online right now are the poor people who are like in the goggles and then smash their head against the wall and stuff and fall through coffee tables.
Nope.
But once you can like hook in, and then the first ones will be very expensive and only a certain people will have it. And before you know it, you'll be able to get the newest one for $8.99, and then more people will buy them.
Just like these phones.
Yep. Put payment plans together. And so we're years away from that, but it's going to be just very, very fascinating. And I'm just looking for it to be a way to expand our mind and just have us be able to learn and come together. Because I also, I don't know if it's just me, but I just have such a want for new experiences. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know if I'm just getting older, if that's what it is, but I just find myself being bored way more often with things that used to be fun.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like if you've played putt-putt, like going once a week, you just don't like it. If you do it twice a year, it's fun. Or go bowling every now and then, it's fun. But if you were to go do something like all the time, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's just because we're seeing so much new technology and there's so many movies and things to watch, and HBO and Disney and, you know, all these different things.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe it's just, how fun would it be to go play games?
Inside the metaverse?
Yeah,
What
like
kind
just
of
to go
games do you
do,
envision?
just to do more stuff. Like, I don't know why just like sitting around and like, what are you going to talk about?
Where? In the metaverse?
No, in the metaverse, it's like I want to go do things that we can't do in real life, really. Like, it's going to allow people to do things that we never could. Like, if we could go to Greece in the metaverse for free to travel there, that's going to be cool. Like, it's going to allow people to go do more things or go see what the Amazon rainforest is like in there. Like, you can walk around without being bit by something.
Is it going to be very real?
Eventually, yeah.
Eventually. Because that would be cool eventually, but I'd choose to go see it in real life.
Well, of course. But I'm saying the idea of you and I being like, let's go explore. It's like, well, that's going to cost $1 million to do it right. If you want to go explore the whole world,
here you can hop over to Greece in a
just like we can go on YouTube right now and look at videos of Greece. We can look at videos of the Amazon. We can look at videos, and it's all free.
It's interesting.
But it's not as immersive.
Right.
So it's nothing as good as real life.
Right.
It's like seeing my parents on FaceTime isn't as good as real life, but it's better than when we couldn't do it.
Absolutely. Do you remember when we went to New Jersey and we did virtual reality, and there was one that I did where I was underwater and the sharks started coming in and I literally started having a panic attack. It felt so real. I had to take them off. Like, I was so scared.
Yeah.
And that was the craziest experience. Do you remember that, or what you did on that one? Did you?
You were in a cage and a shark was going around. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't care for that one bit. I literally.
Or if you're stepping off a ledge, like people feel like they're falling, and
not doing that.
But I think this is a cool. Yet again, it's a cool. Check out Ready Player One if you're interested in this stuff. You should rewatch it again.
Yeah.
And try an avatar. I'm gonna play around with that and see what that's like.
So who did mine look like? Not me.
I couldn't pinpoint who you looked like, but yeah, it wasn't you.
I gotta work on my avatar, guys.
Yeah. Let us know if you're ready to start Avatar World here. And I think I'll make one just for fun.
You have to.
So, we want to thank you all for stopping by, and we can't wait to chat with you again next week. I know we got on a metaverse rant, but it's interesting. I want to know more, so I gotta do some more research. But enjoy your week. Have a productive, safe, fun week, and we will see you next week.